Hey, what's up, everybody? DFS Rico coming at you with my picks and insight for this MLB 10-game slate for Draftkings on Wednesday, August 5th. We have a 10-gamer, pretty good slate, decent pitching, better bats again. We got Coors Field on the slate, so we all know how that goes. If you like the content that I'm giving you guys, like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it, and I do have a Patreon for $10 a month. I do game-by-game breakdowns for League of Legends. I do another video, no spreadsheets or nothing, but I just do game-by-game breakdowns on that. I do GPP videos for MLB and GPP videos for NBA. Those are the only three sports I provide, and I do give ownership on them. I gotta wait till ownership comes up, and then I'll post that in the Discord for you guys. And if you guys want ownership on other sports, sometimes I could get some of them. Just depends what sport it really is. But the Discord is good. I mean, you got guys in there always helping each other out. Some with big bankroll, some with little bankroll. Kind of people to help each other out for everything. It's really fun. It's good. It's good to have people that to brainstorm with. I think that's the best aspect of it, honestly. But yeah, let's get to it. Let's get to it. We got 10 games. I'm gonna go over 2 pitchers that I like and then 2 stacks that I like, and then we'll get to it from there. So let's go over the over-unders. We got the MLB slate. We got 10 gamer. No one really has a crazy high score other than the Rockies game. Scrolling down, you got the Cubs at 5.35, 6.50 for the Rockies, at 5.00 for the Giants. I think that's really it. Yeah, there's nobody really high like we used to seeing a couple teams. We usually got the Yankees up. The fact that the Dodgers are 4.16 is insane, I think, but we'll see how it goes. All right, let's get to it. I'm going to go through pitchers. My favorite pitcher on the slate for cash. This is going to be more so for cash and smaller GPPs. The bigger GPPs are going to be over on the Patreon. But yeah, Yu Darvish up top. I like him a lot at 10.4K. I've been playing all the pitchers versus Kansas City, and it's really worked out very well for me. I'll keep playing them, all these righties against Kansas City. Kansas City's struggling big against righties. Darvish had a bad game his first game out. They came out his second game and looked like Darvish, 7 Ks, 29.7 fantasy points. I'm willing to pay that price tag for him in cash and small GPPs for sure. He's good. Darvish is good. Looking over at his plate IQ, 31% strikeout rate, 3.45 xFIP. He's going to go against about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 righties. And I've mentioned this plenty of times, even on the GPP video. Their best hitters are righties. Merrifield, Soler, Perez, Mondesi, Franco. They're all righties, and they all struggle versus righties. And Darvish is a stud versus righties. He's much better strikeout rate versus righties, 35.8 strikeout rate. His WOBA's better. His ISO's better. He's just better against righties. And I think he goes out there and has I don't want to call it, but I think he has himself a really good game. I'm hoping it continues. Like I said, the last 2 nights I played the righties for Darvish, for the Cubs, and it's worked out just fine for me over like average 17 plus fantasy points. But then I had Mills the other day, and he had a really good, I think he had like 25 plus. He had a good game. They're keeping the ball low, even if they're not scoring a ton of strikeouts. They've been doing good enough. And Darvish is the guy with the K upside, so I do like him a really good amount. I'm going to be plugging him into a good amount of my cash lineups. Next pitcher I want to talk about, scrolling down. I'm just going to go past by these pitchers. I mean, there's some good pitchers on this league. I like Dobnak. Good pitcher. He's been pitching a decent amount of innings compared to what he was doing last season. Let me see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Yeah, he's been pitching a good amount of innings. Hasn't been like, he's not like the best strikeout guy. Darvish is a strikeout guy. This guy's just, hopefully he can stay in the game and survive. He's only allowed 1 run in 2 starts against 2 good offenses, and I think he gets a better matchup this time. He played against the White Sox, a good offense. He only allowed 1 run. Only played 4 innings, 73 pitches. He only had 10 fantasy points. It's okay. He's not a strikeout guy. And then the next game he does better. He goes against Cleveland, another really good offense. 5 innings pitched. He had 4 Ks. 94 pitches. If he's going to give me 90 pitches versus Pittsburgh, 20.3 fantasy points against Cleveland, I'll take that. If you can give me 18 plus, I'll be perfectly fine. 15 plus, I'd be fine with it. Helps me pay up for bats that I like as well. So I do like him at 7.2K. I'm looking over his plate IQ. He's not like a strikeout guy, 18% strikeout, but he's good with ground balls, fly balls, and his hard hit rate's a little scary. But a lot of these guys on the Pittsburgh team don't scare me in any way. His WOBA and his ISO is good versus righties and lefties. Um, he's even better versus lefties, it looks like. And other than his hard hit rate, his late contact, but his ground balls and his fly balls are good. He's a ground ball and fly ball guy. These these guys don't really scare me. I know I think I played Woodruff earlier this season against, I forgot who it was, against Pittsburgh though. It was a pitcher that didn't have good strikeout rate. He had like 19% strikeout rate. He went out there and got us like 9 or 8, 10 Ks. Um, it's not like Dobnak can do that. He can go out there and get us 7, 8 Ks against his team. I know Pittsburgh is known for not striking out much, but they have a 20% strikeout rate going back to last season. If you go to this season though, they have not looked good. Uh, they've been striking out a lot more. From Bell down, everyone's over 30% strikeout rate. 39, 32, 31, 46, 35, 33. Big strikeout rate. I do like him in this matchup. He's just one of those guys that can stay out of trouble. Hopefully he does it again for us tonight. He has the upside because of how bad these bats have been for Pittsburgh, but for strikeouts. But I'm playing him more so. Hopefully his floor is just good enough to get me by, you know. So that's what I'm hoping with him. I do like him a good amount, so I'll be plugging him at 7.2, which gives me 4,000 salary per player, which will get me over to the bats now. I don't really want to talk about Coors Field. I've been talking about him the last couple days. If you're gonna play Coors Field, you're gonna want to play the lefties because they are going against a righty. And then I think San Francisco is going against John Gray, so he's a righty. So you're going to want to play the lefties, which they both have good lefties. That's all I'm really going to talk about in that game. You know who to play. Wait for the starting lineups. Play the lefties on both teams, and you should be solid. I just want to give you two different teams compared to what everyone else is probably going to be giving you today. Um, but yeah, let's get to it. First team I want to talk about for bats is going to be Minnesota. I do like Minnesota in their matchup versus Trevor Williams. Not really a pitcher I'm afraid of. He's a righty. You're going to have a good amount of lefties in this matchup. Kepler should be leading off at 4.1K. Has been having some good couple games. He's leading off. Donaldson is still out, so you might have some salary savers. Let's go over to the Minnesota projected starting lineup. Kepler, Polanco, Cruz. Rosario at 4K. Arias at 3.3. So you got some cheap guys you can put in your lineup in this to make you pay up for other bats too if you want to. But I do like Minnesota leading off with Kepler, Polanco at 3.9. It doesn't make any sense. I like plugging in Kepler. I like plugging in Polanco at 3.9. Still gives you a good amount. I think that keeps me at 4,000, right? Yeah, 4,000 salary. I'm still there where I want to be. And it lets me really just go either way. Polanco hasn't been the best guy I know this season, but we know how good he can be. When he gets on base, eventually he's going to turn it around. He's going to get on base. He's going to start stealing bases. He's going to start hitting doubles, triples. Hopefully that happens for us tonight. But I do like them to a good amount. And then if you want to pay up, if you go over to Plate IQ, you got Nelson Cruz, 0.402 WOBA, 52% hard hit rate versus righties. I know he's a righty. Trevor Williams is not good versus lefties. He struggles a lot more versus lefties. You see all this red. He's a little better versus righties. Not good enough, though. So I do, like I said, Kepler. You can play Rosario. He hasn't been the best either lately. Well, early in the season, he wasn't that good, but he's been better lately. So I do like plugging in Rosario at the outfield at 4K. This is kind of where I would start. Two lefties, Kepler leading off, and then you got Rosario and Polanco, and then it kind of depends on what righties you want to go with. I mean, you got Nelson Cruz. We all know how good he can be. He can go out there and get us 2 home runs any given night. He did that earlier this season against the White Sox, put up 52 fantasy points the last 2 games. He's gotten 3 hits. He's a guy I would pay up for if I'm playing this stack. Sano is not a bad play, but I prefer Cruz. I think I would just pay up for Cruz for sure. Let's plug in Cruz. That fills up all your outfield positions, so if you don't want to play one of these guys, I get it, but I think these are all the 4 best bats and for 4 best options on this team. Still gives you 3,800. Eventually, you could pay down for some guys and you'd be in a perfect position. to pay up for more bats. Once you get the starting lineups, there's always those cheap guys that come in that you can pay down for. And then the next team I want to talk about is Houston. Houston's going to low overlook. Their over-under is not that high. Their implied run total, 5.06, is not that high. They are going against Robbie Ray, but Houston Astros don't really care who they're going against. You got Altuve, you got Bregman at the top of the lineup with Springer, Gurriel, Correa, and Reddick. Robbie Ray is a lefty. These guys got a ton of really good righties, which for some reason Ray's a little better, so people might see his numbers and think not to play the Astros. And the fact that the Astros are not going to be high owned, I like them even more. So if you don't want to pay up for guys like the Rockies or the Giants, for some reason you don't want to play them today, I think the Astros would be a good pivot off of them, just because of the fact that they're so cheap. I mean, you can plug in their catcher, Maldonado. Let's go over to their catcher. At 2.8K, you plug him in at 2.8K, you go back up to 4,200. Easily pay up for any of these other bats that you like. 5.7. Brantley still day to day, it looks like. Yeah, he's still day to day. If he was playing, I'd like him a good amount. But even Gurriel at 4.1K is not a bad play. He's going to be batting like 5th or 6th in the lineup. He's going to be batting 4th in the lineup at 4.1K. He's good versus lefties. He got a good ISO, decent WOBA. He's not like, obviously he's not no Altuve or Bregman, but the fact that he's going to be batting 4th with Brantley out of the lineup, I do like him. And then you got Correa as well. 4.3K. You got some cheap bats on this lineup that you could pay down for. I mean, you plug in Gurriel, that's a solid little core right there. Whichever way you want to go, you can 5-man stack Houston, you can 5-man stack Minnesota, but these are the two teams I'm looking at right now. Can go really a lot of ways with this teams. Both of these teams save salary. They both have some cheap guys you can pay down for if you want to pay up for the better bats. But I do prefer Minnesota a little more than Houston, but I do like them both a pretty good amount. Obviously, don't avoid Coors Field. Coors Field, I get it. You want to play it. But if you decide to pay up for pitchers, I do recommend playing some Minnesota. Minnesota is in a good spot. Yeah, that's really it, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.